You are back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. Firstly, I just want to say congratulations to my good friend Morgan and his brave wife who just went through the fucking ringer. But they had a healthy baby boy, and I can tell you right now that boy is going nowhere near my daughter. They will not even meet till they're like 30 or 40. There's no fucking way. But he gave me a call this morning and gave me a rundown of the whole labor and delivery and shit. And I can tell you this right now. Stamp this in fucking gold. I will never have another kid again. And I don't usually say never. Never say never. Actually, I always say fucking never. Who came up with that shit? Always say never. Just backtrack if you have to. Say never up front and then backtrack. But that's me done for kids. Just his description of what went on was fucking harrowing. It started giving me a little bit of like PTSD. And I didn't even do anything for the birth. I was just standing there. After I got off the phone to him, I went and told my wife, and she's like, yeah, we're fucking done. And she's like, it's not even just the physical. It's the mental stuff as well. I'm like, it's even more mental. Like the mental stuff is probably worse. And she's just death staring me going, you fucking have no idea, do ya? And I'm like, for me, the mental stuff was harder. Like the physical, I did know physical stuff. So of course, the mental stuff was harder for me. For you, the physical stuff might have been harder, but for me, it was the mental stuff. What physical stuff did I do? Hardly anything. I carried the suitcase into the car. I mean, the suitcase was heavy and it hit my shin as I was putting it in, which hurt a little bit. But aside from that, I was pretty tired because I got very little sleep, but aside from those two things, it was more mental for me. That's how you get out of the shit. Just good explanations. Truth and good explanations. But now that it's set in stone that we're never having any more kids, there is a new calm about us. All that pregnancy shit and trying and fucking just the nightmare of the whole thing, it's done for us. We don't have to go through any of that again, and it's fucking a wonderful feeling. I always wondered why no one ever talks about how fucked up the process of having a kid is. It's so fucking stressful. Get the fucking word out there. Tell people. Having a kid is stressful as fuck. Like, I mean, it's great. Do it. You should do it if you want to. If you think you should do it. And it is like a magical carpet ride of joy and bliss most of the time. Just fucking non-stop joy and bliss. No, I definitely prefer being a dad than not being a dad, but people should be warned. I had no idea what I was in for. I didn't even have any concept of any idea of what I was in for. I would have thought the message would have got to me at some point. Hey, it's not all fun and games. But the good thing is I now have a friend that has a kid. I now have someone I can look down on and dismiss everything he says. How's the fucking balls on the cunt? He's on the phone to me and he's telling me dad shit like I don't know. I'm like, shut the fuck up. You've been a dad 16 hours, mate. I've been a dad for 2 years. But isn't your son 4.5? Yeah, well, the first 2.5 years, let's just say that was still Boyle time. So anyway, congratulations to them. And now it's time for a fucked up Friday. From someone who's still able to enjoy their life. So if you're still enjoying your life and you're still able to have a little bit of fun, why don't you send in a fucked up Friday to me? Hit me up on social media. I'm Boyle Comedy on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. Write a story out, send it in, I'll read it out. I'll get to them all eventually. So this week's Fucked Up Friday was sent in by an Australian who wants to remain anonymous. So thank you for the story, Anonymous Australian, and we'll get straight into it. All right. I was living in Melbourne, about to move countries with my missus. I went out boozing with my buddies, and as standard, we got fucked up. I think it was a Tuesday. That's a good drinking day. Tuesday's a great drinking day. By the end of the night, we were all retarded, and I wandered off and managed to somehow convince a taxi driver to let me in his cab. I only lived about 10 minutes drive from the pub, but the next thing I know, I was asleep in the gutter. What must have happened was I passed out without giving the dude a proper address and he kicked me out of his cab. Anyway, I woke up in the gutter with all these Sudanese dudes around me who were touching me, either trying to help me or rob me. But you know, where's your mind go? I would have been like, fuck, went out last night and I've woken up in Africa. How am I going to get home? Where does your mind go? You wake up in the gutter surrounded by some black dudes. Where does your mind go? What, you think they're going to be administering first aid? Anyway, back to it. I told them to fuck off and they surprisingly walked away to my dismay. Why are you dismayed about that? Isn't that the exact result you want when you tell someone to fuck off? But then I realized my phone and wallet were gone. Fuck, so they weren't first aid. So I chased after them and they made it obvious that they would fuck me up if I didn't get lost. I started walking away because I couldn't do shit and all these cops happened to be walking down the street. I grabbed the coppers and I said, these motherfuckers just robbed me. I wouldn't normally involve the police, but I needed my wallet since I was moving countries the next day. The cops grabbed these dudes and searched them, finding nothing of mine. One of the cops looked into my pockets and found both my wallet and phone. Nice. That happens all the time to me sober. I'll be like, I've lost my phone, and I'll look for it for 20 minutes and it'll be in my pocket. So I understand where you're coming from. Now, you might think this would make me take a step back and admit defeat, but I was too far gone and kept strong on the attack with my accusations. What are your continued accusations? Hey, they may not have robbed me specifically, but look, they're black. I'm sure if you look into it, they've robbed someone. You might as well arrest them. Take them away, Sarge. The cops said they'd drive me home, so they put me in the back of the paddy wagon. On the way home, I forgot I was in there and just started kicking the shit out of the inside trying to break shit. They dropped me at home like the fuckhead I was and managed to just let me leave even though they were fucking mad pissed at me. I walked in the front door of my house and just started pounding red wines like a standard fucked up alcoholic. That is the standard night you have before you go overseas. You go so fucking hard the night before you leave. The day you actually land in the new country, you're so hungover and so fucked up, you can't do anything. That's the way you do it. But thank you for the story. Thanks for sending it in. That's all for tonight. Enjoy your weekend and I'll see you the fuck later.